The gleaming medals and trophies that once lined my bedroom walls now lay scattered across our front lawn, price tags hanging from them like scarlet letters of betrayal. My mother was haggling with a local sports shop owner over my competition gear, while my father loaded my training equipment into someone's truck. $20 for an Olympic-level speed suit? These cost hundreds. A neighbor gasped, picking up my national team uniform. Everything must go, my mother announced cheerfully, as if she were selling old Christmas decorations instead of my decade-long swimming career. My son Marcus needs new football equipment for his scholarship tryouts. I stood silently recording everything on my phone from our porch. At 16, I'd just been awarded the prestigious Olympic training scholarship for swimming, something only 3 athletes in our state had ever achieved. The irony? Marcus had failed to make his high school varsity football team 3 years in a row. "Sarah," my father called out, holding up my custom training fins. "These are still new. How much should we ask?" I watched as my mother sold the fins I'd saved 6 months to buy for less than a quarter of their value. Each piece of equipment represented countless early mornings, late nights, and sacrifices that my family had never understood or appreciated. "Your brother is the real athlete," Mom had screamed last night when I refused to decline the scholarship. "He just needs proper equipment and training. You're being selfish." The real athlete in question was currently inside, probably playing video games, while our parents liquidated my swimming career on the front lawn. Marcus had always been their golden child, destined for NFL glory despite showing minimal athletic talent or dedication. "Mrs. Anderson," my mother called to our next-door neighbor, "would you like to buy some medals? They're real silver." "Aren't these Sarah's national championship medals?" Mrs. Anderson asked, looking concerned. "The ones from last month's meet." "She doesn't need them anymore," my father cut in. "She's giving up swimming to support her brother's dreams." I hadn't said any such thing, but they've been putting words in my mouth since yesterday when the scholarship letter arrived. "Think about your brother's future," they pleaded. "This is his last chance to make something of himself in sports. You can always keep swimming as a hobby." A hobby. That's what they called my Olympic-level achievements. Meanwhile, Marcus's fantasy football statistics were treated like professional scouting reports. "Sarah, help us sort through these trophies," Mom demanded, noticing me on the porch. "Don't just stand there recording like some sort off." She stopped mid-sentence as a sleek black SUV with Olympic rings on the door pulled up to our house. My coach had warned me the committee would be visiting today to discuss training arrangements. I told my parents this, but they'd been too busy planning Marcus's imaginary football career to listen. "Is this the residence of Sarah Mitchell?" A distinguished-looking man in a Team USA jacket stepped out, followed by my coach and 2 other officials. "Practice isn't for another hour," I said calmly, walking down to greet them. "But I see you've arrived in time for the yard sale." The officials took in the scene. My competitive gear strewn across the lawn, price tags dangling from national team equipment, medals being sold for pocket change. My mother had frozen in place, still holding my state championship trophy with its $5 price tag. "What's going on here?" my coach demanded, picking up my racing suit from a pile marked "cheap deals." "Just a family disagreement about priorities," I replied, still recording. "Mom, Dad, you remember I mentioned the Olympic Committee would be visiting today to discuss my training schedule and facility arrangements." My father dropped the box of training equipment he was holding. The sound of expensive tech hitting the ground made the officials wince. "Sarah, sweetie," my mother's voice had transformed from commanding to sugary sweet. "We were just organizing your things." "By selling them?" one of the officials asked, examining a price tag on my national team warm-up jacket. "There seems to be some confusion," my coach said diplomatically, but his face was thunderous. "Sarah's scholarship includes complete equipment provision and training gear. However, selling official national team items is problematic. Not to mention selling equipment purchased through previous national team grants," another official added, photographing the scene with her phone. "That's technically government property." My parents' faces had turned from red to white. Through the window, I could see Marcus have finally emerged from his gaming den, staring at the scene unfolding on our front lawn. "Perhaps," I suggested, stopping my recording, "we should go inside and discuss the legal implications of selling Olympic team equipment, and then we can talk about my training schedule." assuming, of course, that I still have a family support to pursue my Olympic dreams. The officials nodded grimly, while my parents looked like they might faint. As we headed inside, I heard one official murmur into her phone, "We're going to need the legal team on this one." Sometimes support comes not from where you expect it, but from where you've earned it. And sometimes the biggest obstacle to your dreams isn't the competition. It's the people who should be cheering the loudest. The atmosphere in our living room was tense as the Olympic officials sat across from my shell-shocked parents. Marcus hovered in the doorway, his gaming headset still around his neck, looking confused at the serious faces before him. "Let me be clear, Mr. Thompson," the head official stated firmly. "The Olympic Training Scholarship is one of the most prestigious athletic awards in the country. It's not transferable, sellable, or negotiable." "We just thought," my mother began weakly. "You thought you could sell government-funded equipment to buy football gear?" My coach interrupted, his usual patient demeanor replaced with controlled anger. "Do you understand this could impact Sarah's eligibility?" I watched my parents shrink under the collective gaze of the Olympic Committee. The same parents who'd been so bold selling my achievements on the front lawn now couldn't meet anyone's eyes. "I have the receipts," I said, pulling out my phone, "for everything they tried to sell today, and the videos of them admitting why they were selling it." Ms. Rodriguez, the legal representative, nodded approvingly. "Smart girl, we'll need copies of those." "This is ridiculous," Marcus suddenly burst out. "Mom and Dad said Sarah was giving up swimming. They said she agreed to help me get into football." The officials turned to me, eyebrows raised. "I never agreed to anything," I stated calmly. "They made that decision without consulting me, just like they decided to sell my equipment without my permission." "Sarah," my father tried, "we were thinking of the family." "No," I cut him off. "You were thinking of Marcus, like always. How many of my meets did you miss to attend his football tryouts? How many times did I have to find my own rides to national competitions because you were busy with his training?" The room fell silent. Even Marcus looked uncomfortable. "Let me show you something," I said, connecting my phone to our TV. A video started playing. A compilation of my competitions over the years. Meet after meet where I stood on podiums alone, broke records with no family to witness it, celebrated victories with only my coach by my side. This was from Junior Nationals, I narrated as the footage played. I broke the state record. Mom and Dad were at Marcus's football camp registration. The officials watched intently as more scenes played out. Empty seats where parents should have been, my solo celebrations, the countless achievements witnessed only by my coach and teammates. Yet despite this, Mr. Thompson noted, "You've maintained Olympic qualifying times and broken multiple records." "She's one of our most dedicated athletes," my coach added. "Never missed a practice, even when she had to take 3 buses to get there." My mother started crying softly. "We didn't know." "You never asked," I replied. "You were too busy building Marcus's non-existent sports career to notice I was actually building one of my own." Marcus flushed red. "That's not fair. I could be great if—" "If what?" Ms. Rodriguez interrupted. "If your sister gives up her earned achievements, that's not how sports work, young man. That's not how life works." Mr. Thompson cleared his throat. "Given the circumstances, we need to make some decisions. Sarah, the committee is prepared to offer you immediate residence at the Olympic Training Center, full accommodation, education, and training facilities." My parents' heads snapped up. "You want to take her away?" My mother gasped. "No," Mr. Thompson corrected. "We want to provide her with the support she clearly isn't getting here, the support she's earned." Additionally, Ms. Rodriguez added, "We'll be launching an investigation into the attempted sale of official Olympic team equipment. You may be receiving some legal documents in the coming days." My coach stood up. "Sarah, pack what's left of your gear. We'll replace everything they sold. Practice starts tomorrow at the national facility." As I headed to my room, Marcus followed me. "Sarah, I didn't know they were selling your stuff. I thought you really agreed to quit." I looked at my brother, really looked at him. For years, he'd been the center of our parents' athletic aspirations, despite showing no real talent or dedication. In a way, he was as much a victim of their delusions as I was. "Here's some advice," I said, packing my remaining belongings. "Find your own dream, Marcus, not Mom and Dad's version of it." I did. When I came back downstairs, The officials were wrapping up their visit. My parents sat motionless on the couch, looking dazed. "Ready?" my coach asked. I nodded, then turned to my parents. "I'll send you my competition schedule. Come or don't come, it won't change my performance either way. I've gotten this far without your support. I can go all the way to the Olympics the same way." As I walked out the door, I heard my mother call after me, "Sarah, please." But I was already stepping into my future, one where my achievements wouldn't be sacrificed for someone else's dreams, and where the only person I had to prove anything to was myself. 6 months later, I stood behind the blocks at the Olympic trials, adjusting my new racing suit, one that actually belonged to me. The stadium lights reflected off the pool's surface, creating a dance of light that matched my racing heartbeat. My coach gave me a reassuring nod from the sidelines. These past months at the training center had transformed not just my swimming, but my entire life. For the first time, I was surrounded by people who understood dedication, who valued achievement based on merit rather than family expectations. As I stepped onto the block, I caught a glimpse of something unexpected in the family section. My parents and Marcus, sitting awkwardly among the other athletes' cheering families. They'd received my competition schedule as promised, but this was the first time they'd shown up. The past months had been interesting. The legal investigation into the equipment sale had resulted in my parents having to pay significant fines. More importantly, it had forced them to face the reality of their actions. Marcus had actually started attending community college, focusing on sports management rather than chasing impossible athletic dreams. Lane 4, Sarah Mitchell, the announcer's voice boomed. Current national record holder in the 200-meter butterfly. I took my mark, letting everything fade away except the water before me. The buzzer sounded, and I was flying. 2 minutes and 3 seconds later, I hit the wall. The roar of the crowd told me what I already knew. I just qualified for the Olympics, breaking my own national record in the process. As I pulled myself out of the pool, I was immediately engulfed in hugs from my teammates, my real family for the past 6 months. My coach was crying, something I'd never seen before. "You did it, kid," he said proudly. "You really did it." The reporters swarmed around me, microphones thrust forward. "Sarah, how does it feel to be the youngest qualifier on the team?" "Sarah, your journey to this moment has been unconventional. Any comments about the family controversy that went viral?" I caught sight of my parents trying to make their way down from the stands. Marcus was filming everything on his phone, his expression a mix of awe and something that looked like understanding. "My journey has taught me something important," I answered, looking directly into the cameras. "Success isn't about having everyone believe in you from the start. It's about believing in yourself enough to keep going when no one else does." Later, in the athletes' area, my parents approached hesitantly. My mother was clutching a bouquet of flowers, my father holding what looked like a scrapbook. "Sarah," my mother began, her voice trembling. "We've been following all your meets, online. You've been incredible." "We've been watching the live streams," Marcus added. "Every single race. I've even started a blog about swimming. Did you know you have fans now?" I accepted the flowers without comment, waiting. "We were wrong," my father finally said, opening the scrapbook. Inside were printouts of every article, every result, every achievement I'd earned in the past 6 months. We were so focused on creating an athlete that we missed the champion we already had. "I needed supporters, not creators," I replied quietly. I already knew who I was. "We know that now," my mother whispered. Can we be there?" "In the stands. When you compete at the Olympics." I looked at them, really looked at them. The past 6 months had changed them too. Marcus was no longer wearing his football jerseys, my mother had stopped carrying around his old training videos, and my father had replaced his future NFL star dad cap with a simple Team USA one. "You can be there," I said finally, but not as parents trying to control my journey, as spectators watching me create my own. "That's fair," my father nodded. "More than fair." "Sarah," my coach called. "The team meeting's starting. We need to discuss Olympic training schedules." As I turned to leave, Marcus called out, "Hey sis, that thing you said in your interview about believing in yourself when no one else does. I get it now. I finally get it." I smiled, genuinely this time. Maybe that's the real victory here. Walking away, I heard my mother ask my coach if there was a parent support group for Olympic athletes. His response made me laugh. Yes, but they're there to support their children's dreams, not replace them with their own. That evening, as I stood on the podium receiving my Olympic trials medal, I looked up at the stadium lights and thought about journeys, how some begin with a single step, others with a dive into deep water, and some with the courage to stand your ground when everyone tells you to step aside. My journey wasn't over, it was just beginning. And this time, I had something better than family expectations pushing me forward. I had my own unwavering belief in where I was headed. Sometimes, the hardest race isn't in the pool. It's the one where you swim against the current of others' expectations to find your own path to victory.